Before we begin, consider a strange but powerful idea. No human being truly grows up psychologically healthy unless they were deeply loved by someone during the early years of life. Not admired from afar, not simply provided for, but loved patiently and consistently while they were still small, confused, and learning how the world works. Yet even today, we are still discovering what real parental love actually looks like. Many parents try their best. Some succeed beautifully. Others struggle more than they realize. But how can we tell the difference? Today, we'll explore 8 principles of good parenting, a kind of test. Not to blame anyone, but to better understand the emotional environment we grew up in. As you listen, ask yourself one quiet question. How would your parents score? The first principle is attunement. A loving parent learns to meet a child at their level, sometimes literally. They kneel down, make eye contact, and try to see the world through the child's eyes. They recognize that small children cannot easily adapt to the demands of the adult world. In the early years, the child must often be placed at the center, not to spoil them, but to help them grow. Attuned parents also understand that what seems trivial to adults can feel enormous to a child. A puddle can be magical. A torn page in a favorite book can feel devastating. A sock that feels wrong can ruin an entire morning. A good parent doesn't dismiss these moments. They respect them. Because learning empathy later in life begins with having one's own feelings taken seriously first. Just a quick reminder, if you like learning new things, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe if you enjoy this content. The second principle is forgiveness. Children often behave badly. They shout, refuse to cooperate, or make messes that frustrate everyone around them. But a loving parent doesn't rush to label the child as difficult or a problem. Instead, they look for kinder explanations. Maybe the child is overwhelmed. Maybe they feel insecure about a new sibling. Maybe they're simply exhausted. This compassionate interpretation shapes the child's inner voice. As adults, they will be able to forgive themselves when they make mistakes, rather than drowning in shame or self-hatred. The third principle is allowing strange phases. Children are naturally odd. They may pretend they are animals, develop strange food preferences, or invent imaginary friends. A secure parent doesn't panic about these moments. They understand that childhood is a time of experimentation. Today, the child might insist they're a pirate. Tomorrow, they may want to be an astronaut. Good parents allow these phases without rushing to define the child too quickly. They avoid assigning rigid labels like the shy one, the angry one, or even the smart one. A child should have the freedom to discover who they are, rather than being trapped in an identity chosen for them. The fourth principle is clinginess. Children often need enormous reassurance. They may cling tightly at the school gates or constantly seek closeness. A good parent doesn't shame this need. They don't say, "Stop being a baby," or demand instant bravery. Instead, they understand something important. The children who become the most secure adults are usually the ones who were allowed the most dependence early in life. Real independence grows out of deep early attachment. The fifth principle is imperfection. Surprisingly, good parents are not perfect, and they shouldn't try to be. If a parent seems impossibly flawless, glamorous, or distant, a child may begin to feel small and inadequate by comparison. Healthy parents allow themselves to be human. They might forget things. They might occasionally get irritated. They might laugh too loudly or sneak an extra dessert. These imperfections quietly teach the child that being human is acceptable. Life doesn't require perfection, only sincerity. The sixth principle is boringness. This might sound strange, but good parents are often quite boring. They are consistent, predictable, calm. They show up day after day in roughly the same way. Children already experience plenty of excitement and chaos inside their own minds. What they need from adults is stability, a steady presence that makes the world feel safe. Parents, in a sense, are playing a role. The child doesn't need to know every worry or frustration the adult has. Reliability matters far more than constant excitement. The seventh principle is unreciprocated love. Healthy parenting is not an equal exchange. Love flows mostly in one direction. Parents give time, patience, and attention without expecting the child to meet their emotional needs in return. The child doesn't have to ask how their parent's day was or solve their problems. Children should be able to take their parents somewhat for granted. And the reward for this generosity doesn't arrive immediately. It may appear decades later when that child grows into a thoughtful adult, or perhaps a loving parent themselves. When we look at all these principles together, attunement, forgiveness, patience with strange phases, acceptance of clinginess, healthy imperfection, calm stability, and generous love, we start to see parenting more clearly. Love isn't dramatic. It isn't loud. It's the quiet, patient effort of an adult who spends years guiding someone small, confused, and often frustrating until that child slowly grows into someone who trusts themselves and the world around them. So when you think about this test, your parents may have scored highly in some areas and struggled in others. Most parents fall somewhere in the middle. But understanding these patterns gives us something powerful: awareness. Because once we see what healthy love looks like, we gain the chance to practice it ourselves and perhaps give others the kind of patience, understanding, and care that every child deserves. If you found this video meaningful and interesting, drop a comment below and share your experience. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might find this content useful. And as always, thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.